Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of All You Can Eat Chelsea, fresh off the back of the emergency episode, which I must say probably goes down as one of the maddest episodes we've ever had, just purely because of the timing of it and then some of the things that were getting said past 11 o'clock at night. It was mad in the UK. It was very, very, very explicit content for the back end of that show. It was hilarious. And now we're back again. Drogbaba's back with us, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he feels after a couple of days out of the. I mean, we've had a couple of days rest. I called it a football hangover on my roundabout episode, purely because I felt like I'd been, I felt like I'd gone out on the piss with the boys. I felt like I'd absolutely just been dragged through the mud. Some sort of pub crawl, bar crawl, something like that. That's what that performance was to me. Baba, how are you doing, first of all? How are you feeling? Welcome back.
Thank you, bro. Trying to do better, actually. I wanted to be a part of that emergency episode, but it was 4:30 a.m. And, I just crashed after talking with my mates for a couple of hours after that result. Like, we just talked to each other on Discord for a couple of hours. Then I crashed because I couldn't bear what I was seeing that day. Have you guys ever been through a breakup?
Yes.
Do you know what it feels like?
Yes.
It felt like that day. Heart was broken into 1,000 pieces when we lost to Southampton, and the kind of performance that we saw that day. Pretty much the same team, the same manager that we are going to go with for the rest of the season. I'm scared, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we finish 15th, get absolutely pumped by Dortmund. I mean, I used to say, what is the worst that could happen, man? Earlier, it was like, okay, top 5, top 6. Chelsea can't finish below 5th, man. Even if we have a worst of a season. Okay, we'll write off that one season, 15-16 season that we had. We finished 10th. But next season after that, we appointed Conte and won the Premier League. Right now, I don't know where this club is going, man. Because the feeling is we are not playing the Champions League next season. God forbid.
No.
If the manager messes up the first 15 games of the next season also, before he's given the sack. I hope everything works out in the end. But I'm just being a realist right now. You're not going to get top 4 next season also. And what does that mean in the long term? I don't know. So I'm preparing myself mentally for no European football or no Champions League football for next 2 to 3 years, man. And that's the harsh reality of it. I'm sorry. But that is where we are heading at the moment. Again, I don't want any managers to get sad just like that. Or I'm all for giving them time. But you have to have a baseline. You have to have a breaking point. And mine has been achieved, unfortunately, with Graham Potter. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna respond to that as well, but I'm gonna finish the introductions. Younes, my brother, yes. How are you feeling? I saw your double up. When Younes has done a double upload, something has gone very wrong. Younes does not do double uploads unless it is absolutely necessary. I saw you brought back your friend from way back when and I saw his archives. He's been uploaded for like 10 years. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know about it. Yeah. So how are you doing, bro? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, because he's back now, so it was a good chance to be able to collab again after so long, because he is the OG of Chelsea YouTube. He was the first.
You can see it. Yeah.
And that it was a good opportunity to get him back on and to kickstart his content again. But yeah, overall I'm good. That was good. And you know what? It's a double upload today as well. So everyone's gonna be happy with that.
I really hope something happens.
But you'll like it. You'll like it. Actually, technically, if we're gonna be talking properly, you could say it's a triple, but it's 2 on my channel and 1 elsewhere. But you all know who it is. So yeah.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know if you dig any further.
Younes has seen all these people like us double uploading. He's like, why am I holding back? Do you know what I mean? I need to get.
You escaped Big Six Extra last night, which I was like, because I was like, how lucky do you have to get? Literally in the comment section of the original on Monday, he was in the comments being like, continue the time wasting, Jose.
Oh, bro, you done a phenomenal job, man. I was like, this is such a Mourinho masterclass. This Matisse is on it.
Tactical masterclass. I think that was probably one of my best performances on Big Six. I'm not gonna lie. That was one of my best. It was such a difficult away day, and it was such a difficult tie. You know, it was prime Iniesta, Xavi, and Busquets in midfield, and I had to just pin down, you know, the defense and say, listen, we're not moving, clear balls off the line, save penalties and whatnot. So, but yeah, we're gonna get to it because you know what,
Classico Obi Mikel.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, for real. Literally. And I thought I'd get the brunt on extra, and then the beautiful message came into the WhatsApp group, like Turkish, like we're gonna have to cancel.
Oh, but you know what? Liverpool, after what happened Liverpool last night, they would have also been catching a lot of heat.
They would have probably got the heat.
Yeah, it's true.
It's
true. James got away with it too.
Yeah. But yeah, this is gonna be a fun episode because I got a few things to bring up outside of just what the team are doing as well. But Miz, my brother, how are you doing as well, my brother? How are you feeling? Come on, talk to me. How you feeling?
Look, I'm accepting of the current state of affairs. It was tough, obviously, after the match. It was tough the following day, but now a couple of days on, that's life. That's life. That's life. So until it all starts again, you know, the weekend, let me just enjoy some downtime, I suppose. You know what I mean? Like, until the storm begins again. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, no, it's all right at the moment, Matisse. It's all right. How you doing, bro? No one ever tells you how you doing, bro.
Yeah, it's true. How are you?
I am absolutely exhausted. I mean, I've been slaughtered on DR. I've been slaughtered on Big Six. I've gone to 5 and had a little bit more of a heart-to-heart with Joe over there. But it still felt like, because of course he's an Arsenal fan and Jorginho done what he done, it still felt a bit rough. And it was a tough Monday's always tough for me, especially when we lose. And I think I'm at the point of acceptance as well. Obviously, just due to the fact that they're not going to sack him, and I'm not surprised. That did not shock me, which is why and some people will say reactionary title, and I don't mind if you think it was reactionary because it was. I was reacting to one of the worst defeats I've seen in a very long time, and I was very angry. So please resign was my title because that would have stopped the pain. You know, it would have just stopped the bleeding. But that was never going to happen, and he was never going to be sacked. So you know, we moved to Tottenham, and I'm much like you, Miz. I'm not gonna keep going on about it purely because I don't have the strength. I really don't. I just go to the next game and I'm already broken. Is the point? I'm already broken. Like nothing can happen going forward that's worse than that Southampton defeat purely because of the circumstances and the context around it. I expected that win under no circumstances. Unanimously, everybody was like, "We're going to win that game." Dortmund, if we lose that, I'm going to be sad because I want to go through. But it's Dortmund. I'm not surprised if we do. You know, they're a very good team. They're joint top of Bundesliga right now. Same with Tottenham. If we lose that, I'm going to be pissed because it's Tottenham. But again, they're a good team. Southampton was like as bad as it gets in terms of literally statistically in the Premier League. But you know what I find hilarious at the moment? This fan base has lost it, right? Because I'm seeing people are threatening each other, saying we're going to meet each other outside Thai restaurants and stuff.
Man.
There's gunshots going off on Lewis's street. Lewis, I don't know what's going on over there, buddy. But if you need any help,
facts.
Bro, his streams are wild.
His streams are wild, man.
I don't know if I wouldn't last. I would not last there.
You know where to find me. Every single game, I will be there. Dortmund away, I will be there. Dortmund at home, I will be there. Tottenham away, Leeds at home, outside the Thai restaurant. Me and you, I will, bro, I will commit atrocities.
But you know that fight would probably.
One sec, I gotta shoot my cat. 1 sec.
I saw that.
But you know what? I think that fight might actually happen. You know.
No, that's legit. No, that is legit. Let me tell you, Steve was pissed off.
He doesn't play,
and he had intel. He had info in terms of what was said, and him and Tony. I know Tony. They're old school.
Yeah,
it's legit.
Yeah, it's not.
That can go very left.
So what's the backstory? What's the backstory in it?
Apparently, Mineral said something about Steve now.
Oh,
Or Antone, Steve Antone.
Oh, Tone's lovely.
Tone's fantastic.
I don't know Stevie as well, but he seems nice. I don't know.
I mean,
Who are
he
these?
gets
Are they
along really
just
well
match
with Tony.
goals? Are
Yeah.
they just match
Yeah,
goals?
but they've been going for years.
They've been away for a
like,
long time. I've met Tony.
okay.
He's very
They're
nice.
old school.
Old
yeah,
school.
and-
Old school.
They're old, proper old school,
Yeah.
like 70s, 80s, old
Okay.
school.
Proper.
And yeah, and they've been going for donkey's years. So yeah, they're the sort that are constantly at the bridge. They know a lot of loads of people for years and whatnot. And yeah, apparently words have been said now. Weather Minerals allegedly didn't tell them to their faces and only said it behind their backs, and then they find out.
No way. There's no way he would do that. He's never done that before on YouTube. It's just not even. I have to defend him here. There's no way.
Minerals? Nah, that doesn't sound
No
like
way.
him.
That
Bro.
doesn't sound like him at all.
That's how Steve put it across on the chat or on that stream. So
That
yeah.
comment, I'm fucking up for it, is absolutely legendary. It's something that I might get written. You know where you have love, live, laugh, or whatever the fuck it is. I might put I'm fucking up for it on the wall. That is that line is honestly, I couldn't go to sleep last night. I just think I'm fucking up for it.
He even told him at the end. He told him you can bring who you want as well.
So
I was like, bloody
like,
hell.
but the reason why I bring it up, right?
You know he would fight.
Yeah,
You can see it in his eyes. He will fight.
The reason why I bring it up because you said on the last week's episode the matchgoers are critical, and now we're seeing the matchgoers are literally at odds ends, and they're in the stadium moving mad as well in terms of the reception they're starting to give at the end of games.
Yeah,
and this is uncharted territory for this ownership and for this manager. So you can forget what the YouTubers are saying, forget what the online couch sitters are saying, the people that are just hate those guys. Forget us. Because we have no impact, as you say, no influence. And I hope we don't, because I don't want to have an influence. I've got so many things wrong. I thought Lukaku was gonna blow. You know what I'm saying? Please don't give me any influence. I'm just here to give my opinion and go home and have fun. But my God, them matchgoers, Jesus Lord, they are not happy right now, Younes.
I like energy's high at the moment. Tensions are high. We know this. I didn't think that it would result in like internal fighting, proper infighting, civil war. Like I didn't think that would happen, but this is where we're at. I genuinely thought when I said match-going fans, I thought it would be anger collectively at one aim. Right now, it's anger amongst each other, as well as even during a game at one aim. It's all over the place. So this is it's not good, and it's a situation now. This is why we can't drop more points, especially Spurs. Spurs away. I mean, man,
that is the away support. I've been to Spurs away.
It's them. Those lot that are
Lampard, and it's those lot that are there.
Those guys.
Spurs away is max loyalty points capacity. This is the creme de la creme of matchgoers in terms of this is the cherry on the cake. The cake is Stamford Bridge, and these are the cherries. And these are the guys that go every single match, every single season for the last God knows how many seasons. And you're going to get a couple that have managed to sneak their way in there, as always. But this is like this is the proper Chelsea. Proper Chelsea.
Proper. And they will not accept humiliation at Spurs.
Because our record against Tottenham is really good. Brilliant, in fact. Tuchel absolutely slaughtered that club inside out every time we played them to the point of no return. Last season, we played them 3 times in the space of 2 weeks, and we battered them each and every time. It was actually hilarious. Under Lampard, I think we did the double over them. We smacked them at the stadium. I was there for that game. Willian smacked in too. No matter who is in charge, no matter what level of manager is in charge, the only time I remember a home defeat to Tottenham was a Dele Alli header, and that day was a long day because that was the first defeat at home to Tottenham in donkey's years. And away, there's been some 4-4s and some Harry Kane curlers and whatnot, but this is not the time for that. This is not the time for that, Potter. I promise you. And I think when people, and I said on my last upload, I said, regardless of where you sit on Potter, and I've always said to people, you don't even have to sit in a certain space. You could just not know. It's very understandable if you don't know, because I think right now people are really desperate for a long-term project and vision, which is making them go too far the other way in terms of accepting just any old nonsense from this from this current regime in terms of results, where I'm saying, no, there will be a cutoff, because if he keeps losing, we will keep falling down the table, and then something has to happen. We're not gonna get into a relegation battle, surely, with this situation, because we want a long-term project. That's not how projects work. I use the analogy on Big Six. If I'm building a house for any of you guys, and you see me setting up the foundations, and I'm not doing it properly, and you can see that when I get to the top of the house, it's all going to come crumbling down. You're not going to let me charge you 60, 70, 80 grand and finish the job. You're going to say to me, hold on a second, calm down. You haven't reached your first checkpoint. You know what I mean? There has to be checkpoints. And clearly the board's checkpoint is a lot further down the line than ours, which is, or most people's, which is fine. I've come to the point now where I'm like, you have to get my trust back. Like, for me personally, I've lost trust in him, because some of the decisions he's been making in game, and then when you look at the way that we are playing with the lack of press, we have not put together any sort of press. I look at the game last night, Liverpool versus Real Madrid. The pressing in that game was, 2 goals came from a press. We have yet to do that. Build up play is still dodgy. Chance creation, yes, you could say last couple of games, Dortmund, West Ham, but again, Dortmund is a bit more open sesame in terms of the way that game goes, in terms of transition and the space they leave him behind. It's not enough. There still needs to be a lot more there in terms of what are we trying to see game in, game out, or are you going to get results? And I think everybody's kind of at that point where it's like, either you rubber stamp your style and you keep trying to work on that with these players, or you have to go down the results route. I think I might have asked this question before, but now it's probably going to more results, isn't it, Miz? If I start with you, what do you want to see in the next couple of matches? They said he has 3 games to win over the fans. Whatever winning over the fans means, I think it's results at this point, because it's getting to a point of toxicity. But if he was to show style in the next 3 games, 3 consistent games of style, of us playing brilliant football or playing progressively each game better football, but still not picking up points, which one is it now?
No, man, it's high time. It's high time. It's W's, man. Yeah, that's the only thing that's going to save him. In fact, it was only ever W's for me personally. I knew you can't get style so quickly. Erik ten Hag is probably starting to see style maybe in the last couple of months. But in the beginning, it was just about grinding and getting the wins. However you can, whatever knowledge that the team has, whatever sort of, at the back of your mind, how you operate, just get the victory. Now you're starting to see Man United move the way how Erik ten Hag wants. And when he doesn't see them move that way, he calls them up on it. He says, that was rubbish. I don't care that we won the match, but you didn't follow my instructions. I don't expect, and I've never expected, and this is the thing that a lot of people out there will keep saying this. Miz, did you expect us to be prime Barca? No. Do I look stupid to you? I've never expected us to be prime Barca. That's ridiculous. Never. In fact, I expected us to be quite the opposite of prime Barca, but to be able to pick up victories, grind it out somehow, because that, 1, will buy you time. 2, it will keep the morale up. For me, Matisse, for the next 3 matches, it's clear as daylight. It's got to be 3 victories. It's got to be 3 W's. W against Spurs, W against Leeds, W against Dortmund. Now, does that sound crazy? Of course it does. Of course it does. With our form, that sounds absolutely crazy. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But my question is, what's going to happen? What's going to happen if we don't get the 3 W's? Are the owners really going to pull the plug? They've waited all this time. You might as well just wait it all out now. You might as well just see it all out. Because if you really wanted to get rid of this guy, it should have happened already. Are the owners really that delusional, thinking that they're going to get 3 W's in the next 3 matches? That just tells me that the owners are not in tune as to what's going on. You cannot expect 3 W's. It's as simple as that. But
I don't know where
is what you need.
I'm at a point where I don't know where our next 3 points is coming from, because we just played the best situation we could possibly face at home against a managerless bottom team, right? So when you lose that game, understandably so, not only is there crazy reaction, there's a lot of uncertainty of, okay, if we can't beat them, where are we getting the points from? Now, the only light and positivity I can shed on that is the fact that changes were made, right? Medical team took initiative to say James has to come out, Silva has to come out. These guys are on the cusp of getting injured. So when James comes back in, when Silva comes back in, when, you know, some of these more expected first team starters come back into the lineup, I'm expecting the performance to go back to at least the level of what we saw against West Ham and Dortmund prior to the Southampton game, which were much better performances than the game against Southampton. Southampton was hopefully an anomaly, but in terms of results, it's not an anomaly because we are 2 wins in 15. So I'm trying to separate performance from result to keep myself afloat. But like you said, these are not easy games because all of these teams are prepared.
I just want to ask you, Matisse, if you're thinking, and you're a fan, we're all a fan here, right? Younes is a fan, Baba is a fan, I'm a fan, Matisse, you're a fan. If you're thinking you can't see where the next 3 points are coming from,
I've been asking for them for weeks.
I'm wondering what the owners are actually thinking then, because when the owners or the board are sitting down with Graham Potter, if we can't see the 3 points coming, what magic lenses have they got that they can see the 3 points are coming? This is what I want to know. So this whole thing about next 3 games to change things, look, I don't think the owners are going to change nothing. I really don't think. I honestly think they're not going to change anything, even if we get knocked out by Dortmund. And the only time potentially maybe something can change is if we actually find ourselves in a relegation battle. That's when they'll be like, all right, well, things have just gone absolute shit. Because for me, if all of us are sitting here and saying we can't see when the next 3 points are coming, I don't know what they're seeing.
Do you know what it is with them? I want to see what Younes and Baba think on this, because they have put them, I mean, termination contract. I think you did a video on it, right, Younes? And it seems like there's some sort of termination clause, in the contract. And it came out in the report that it's not down to the fact that they can't afford to sack him. So that's good, because at least then they're not forced into this position. My worry was that they were kind of forced to keep him. At least now this is on their own accord, and I'm fine with them, you know, being a little bit, you know, foot down and no, you guys, by the first time that you all tell us that he has to go, no, we're not going to do that. He's actually staying. I'm like, you know what? Fair play. You guys really believe in this guy, and that is, you know, you're sticking by your principles. What did we speak about before it in terms of opinions? We spoke about, you know, if you've got an opinion and that's your opinion, fair play. So you sticking with it. No matter what the outside noise is, that's your opinion on that manager. You've backed him. That's your opinion on that situation. You're going with it, regardless of whether people agree with you or you don't. I have to respect the fact that they are going for that, because when people say that there's a lack of ambition from the board, no, there isn't. When you spend that amount of money in that short space of time, it's definitely from a place of ambition. It's not they don't want to be successful. They definitely want to be successful. Have they gone about it the perfect way? No, but I have so much sympathy for the context of when they came in, the networking they didn't have done, that what they tried to salvage of transfers leaving on a free from a previous regime, and trying to keep top 4 with experienced players coming in, that not really working. Then the manager, you know, that hurt. But you know what? That's your decision. I'm gonna take it, because I'm not gonna pretend like the manager was perfect, but he's definitely better than this one, 100%. But it is where it is. And then we move on to the summer, and move on to January, and you go again with the transfers, and you bring in a lot of recruitment. They have been very ambitious. So I'm not gonna say that this is not an ambitious move because they're not getting rid of the manager and not flipping it. But like was said, for Younes, I'll start with you, I guess. With Potter and with the rest of the season, I think everybody's kind of agreed now. We're not getting top 4. The Dortmund, even if we get through Dortmund, do we expect to win the Champions League? Not really. We're just, you know, riding our luck in that competition in terms of where we go. What for you, who's already like, nah, is there what can he do to change your mind? I guess what can he do to turn it around for you this season, or is it kind of like, regardless of what he kind of does, I just know that there's a ceiling to this, and I don't like the ceiling?
I think there is an element of definitely knowing that he doesn't have it within him to take Chelsea to where Chelsea need to be. I'm convinced, right? But in the short term, we absolutely need those next 3 games to be perfect, which they won't. This is the thing. I don't think they will. But we need a result. We need a result against Spurs, alleviate some pressure. Then we need a result against, is it Leeds or Dortmund?
Leeds and then Dortmund, yeah.
Leeds. And then we need a result against Dortmund, and we need to get into that quarterfinal. If that were to happen, I think you got to be fair. And I think it buys some time, right? It maybe starts to change the trajectory. But even in the long run, is Graham Potter going to be the guy to take Chelsea to where they need to be? No, I'm already convinced. I don't think he will. I don't think he's elite. And I don't think he will become elite. I think there's a certain level that Graham Potter can operate at without any pressure and do good things. But Chelsea Football Club and no pressure doesn't exist. So any big team and no pressure doesn't exist. So I just think that's where it sits. And on the ownership, it's mad. I saw a clip of Todd Bowley talking about the LA Dodgers. This was a few years ago in an interview, talking about the importance of winning and how, you know, if we're in LA, you have to win, was the caption, right? And he was talking about how the centerpiece are the fans. And you always have to consider what fans are saying. And the moment you swerve yourself around that, you have to bring yourself back to the fans, because that's what matters. You hear him say all these things. I'm like, well, bloody hell. Okay, clearly you're right. I agree. This is what leads me to think, unless his opinion has shifted, he's changed his way of thinking, which the LA Dodgers have been successful. He's coming to Chelsea. And prior to the purchase, he was emphasizing on how important it is to win, which is what all of us wanted to hear, and to make sure that you keep that standard. Beautiful. Well, this leads me to think, surely, I can understand why they don't want to just pull the trigger and just think, oh yeah, you know, bad results, okay, get rid. But they're, I think, trying to maximize as much as they possibly can, to the point where they know there is no other option. Like, that's it. It has to be done now. I can understand why they're reluctant, because they made the hire. They don't want to look stupid. They don't want to look like they haven't given a chance. And I think it comes down to that, just giving a chance, which they are. Potter's getting time. I think he's had enough time. But the next 3 games are crucial. We saw what happened against Southampton, Spurs now. Those few games, the Champions League, those is going to be key. It's going to be absolutely key. But do I think Potter's the guy to take us far? No.
You know, in our last 14 games or something, I think we're in the form of being around 15th. And what I'm learning about this run and this position that we're in is that it's very difficult to fall down the table from here. It's very difficult. You have to be really bad to fall further, because you're the chasing pack are Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. Neither of them have won a game in their last 3. Crystal Palace has not won a game in their last 5, and Crystal
still have to play all the other top 6 teams.
Yeah, and Aston Villa have lost 3 out of the last 3.
And I think apart from Newcastle and Liverpool, all the games are away games. Like,
yeah, they're all away games, and that's why I was never too confident in top 4, because one, with all the money spent, I knew it was going to be very difficult for him to integrate all of these young players. And I do sympathize with that. And I think I do sympathize with the fact that it's not easy to integrate all the young players, and you're dealing with injury issues. And most of the players outside of Enzo and Felix, for me, I didn't expect to be instant successes, because I just don't know them that well. They don't have a track record of or a CV. They're young. Your Maduekis, your Mudriks, and we're starting to see some mistakes from the Mudriks in terms of tracking back and following runners, things that you need to be doing at the top level to help out your fullback. Maybe for the goal against Dortmund, people will say as well, and the goal against West Ham with the cross that came in. That's why I was very calm on these guys. I was like, you know what? I'm excited to see what you can do, but let me not gas you to the nth degree, because I don't know you like that. But you also, regardless of all of that context, you can't lose every game, because if you keep losing, we can't just keep saying, well, it's difficult, it's not easy. By definition, it's not easy. Of course, that's what management is all about. It's not easy for the Nottingham Forest manager, Steve Cooper, who had to integrate a whole new squad. But he did. And in the end, he's moving in the right direction. You have to find a way. You can't just lose every game, and then every single game we keep saying, well, it's not easy to go to Tottenham, is it? Because look how long that manager's been there. Look how long they've had their team together. So we lose that. And we go to Leeds. Well, it's not easy. because look at the energy they have in the midfield, and we don't have a DM, and Enzo's not the quickest. You can find an excuse for every single game if you want to, but that's not gonna work. So it's interesting. Another point I wanted to make was what was put out by Nazar Kinsella, it seems today, which was Christopher Vivell, which is a meeting between coaches. He's had an emergency meeting between Potter and his staff, and it seems like Christopher Vivell is running the meeting, which makes me feel like he's kind of like our Campos now. He's been appointed as the head of director of football, technical director, whatever it is. He's like our Campos now. And Campos, I remember, actually chose the manager at PSG. And I remember, and on the weekend, Campos came down from the stands and went to the touchline to sit with him. And then it turned into a 4-3 win. I'm not saying Campos, managed a 4-3 win, but he is clearly the guy that you're answering to. So maybe, because at the beginning, it was Todd Boehly. At the beginning, it was Todd Boehly who was making the decisions on transfers, and he was making the decision on management with Tuchel and whatnot. But as time is going on, he's meant to be taking more and more steps back because, he's got more educated people around him who know the sport and are running things for him, while he takes a step back and only just gives the final signature or the final rubber stamp. Is Potter actually answering now to Christopher Vivell? And as we always said, the right order of doing things would be to have maybe Christopher Vivell come in first and then you get a manager. Didn't happen that way. It's understandable. But is that now what we're looking at? Is he is now the guy that is you're actually answering to? If he doesn't have faith in you anymore, and that goes back to Todd, that's a problem for you. You're finished. So maybe he's the guy actually that we have to look at in terms of what is his expectation and what is his patience and what is his point of no return. That's going to be interesting. And then I have to ask, anyone can go for this. Do we know him well enough to trust what he's? I mean, we have to trust him, right? But what do we make of that? If that's the situation now, is he's the one that's calling the shots a little bit with this?
I mean, he's the footballing brain that we have in that environment, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think I don't know if is he the only one, except for, there's the recruitment staff and there's, people like Carl McCauley and Paul Winstanley and all those guys. But as in the most senior footballing guy that's there is going to be Christopher Vivell. I would trust his expertise and his experience for sure. He's done good things within the whole Red Bull group. We know that already. And I would think that even Todd Boehly and Eghbali are definitely going to be looking at him, at least for some input on a footballing level, because on a business level, they don't need anyone to tell them what to do. That's for sure. Yeah. Right. But on a footballing level, they do. They know themselves that they're new to the sport overall. And in terms of just how it all really functions to the micro detail, you need someone who knows, who's been there and done it and knows more than you. And that's, I think, what Christopher Vivell is going to do. So the fact that we're already getting this report that it's Christopher Vivell that's leading this meeting or this crisis meeting or whatever it is, tells you that he's been given that responsibility, and that whatever comes out from it then will be reported back to the guys at the top, 100%, surely, because that's the structure. Because Vivell's not going to make decisions himself. He's not going to just, take authority and just overpower Todd and Bedad Eghbali. That's not going to happen. But the fact that he's leading that is now, I think, a case of he's got his eye on the situation. And we'll see how he analyzes it, because Christopher Vivell's just come in too. And he came in after Potter, as you said. So this is a case of him trying to actually...
He didn't actually appoint him, really.
He didn't. No, exactly. So... you could argue that Christopher Vivell is going to be fairly neutral in this, on a colleague level in the club. Like, yeah, cool. We work for the same club, and we work together. But it's not Christopher Vivell that assisted the owners to get Graham Potter. It was Christopher Vivell coming in to find Graham Potter there. So Vivell can make his own independent decision and report that back to the owners, without feeling like there's a connection. So for good or for bad, that's going to be a fairly honest opinion, which is why I'm looking forward to seeing what Vivell has found, or what he continues to find, or what he continues to analyze, because I feel like he's going to be fairly honest and neutral about the situation, which is good.
It's all collaborative, isn't it, Miz? Anyway, yeah. It's when Stanley and Joe Shields and I forget half of their names at this point. We've got so many people. We've appointed like 6-7 people, so it's tough to remember everybody. But yeah, there's a lot of guys that we've appointed. It's a group decision. It's group thinking. So there's going to be room for disagreement. But internally, it seems like everybody's still together. I guess I have to ask you, what do you want to see from a team standpoint against Tottenham in terms of the lineup? Because the lineup against Southampton, I think we all, when we did our watch-alongs, I know Younes didn't, but everybody else did the watch-alongs. And when we saw that lineup, we were like, wow. And now we had a whole week off. And I don't know what you guys made of the 2 days rest, because obviously, you know, it felt like Reece James and Silva were being rested. And then Sunday is a day of rest anyway, just in general. But then on Monday was rest as well. And it was like, was that planned? Did we? Yeah, who knows? You know, we're never going to know, are we? But the strongest team surely comes back in for Tottenham, and we should be better. But I don't know what your confidence levels are, bro.
Yeah, man, it has to be the strongest team. But going back to that, just quickly on that Christopher Vivell thing, and I reiterate what I think Younes might have touched on this last week, and I definitely touched on this a few weeks back as well, that when Potter was selected, none of these people were around. Like Vivell wasn't around, and you know, although Winstanley was part of, I think Winstanley was part of Brighton anyway, so he would have sort of backed Graham Potter.
Yeah,
there's Lawrence Stewart as well.
Lawrence Stewart wasn't.
That's another one, yeah, from Monaco.
Lawrence Stewart, and I think the hierarchy isn't the hierarchy. So you've got Todd Bowley, then you've got, I think you've got. No, so you've got Todd Bowley, Iqbali, then you've got, I think it's Lawrence Stewart, I think, after that. And then you've got the 2, Winstanley and Vivell, that reports.
There's Vivell, who's technical director, and then there's Stewart and Winstanley that are co-sporting directors.
Yeah.
So they actually are above.
They're under Christopher Vivell.
They're under Christopher Vivell.
So it's Bowley, Iqbali, then Vivell, and then those 2. Vivell is pretty much the top dog, right?
Yeah.
So Vivell wasn't around when Potter was selected. So how do we know when he's now come in? Like, I'm sure Bowley doesn't want a yes guy, another yes guy, because it seems like to me Potter is a yes guy. Like pretty much seems like a yes guy. I'm pretty certain he probably doesn't want Vivell to be a yes guy. So he would probably want Vivell to be very, very open and upfront about everything.
What do we know?
I don't know if Vivell actually, if he was there at that time, if he actually would have even sacked Tuchel, for instance. I'm not even sure if he would have actually recommended to sell Thomas Tuchel. Maybe he would have been the bridge between the two, you know, the owners and Thomas Tuchel. He would have been the communicator between the two, and he would have ensured that it came. I'm just saying, maybe he would have advocated for Tuchel to be sacked, but I don't know whether he would have even advocated for Graham Potter to be the next coach. It might have been someone from Bundesliga. I don't know. I just find it very strange that Hansi Flick keeps coming into the match. Like, does Vivell know Flick well? Or I don't know. I'm just throwing out. So that's one thing, right? There's definitely some uncertainty in that area. In regards to Spurs, look, it has to be the best team. It's got to be Silva. It's got to be Reece James. It's got to be Ben Chilwell. It's got to be Buddy Shield. It's got to be, you know, all the superstars up front. And even then, if you can't somehow conjure up a victory, which is not going to be easy away from home against Spurs.
Because it's a win that he needs now. I've been saying every single big game.
Not just him, the fan base.
Yeah.
Like the fan base needs it, bro. Yeah. It's not even about you, Graham Potter, anymore. You just need to give us something. Your time has finished. A lot of people no one given up.
After losing to Southampton, you can't now say, "Oh, we go to Tottenham, get a point." That's a good result. Not really. We need to win games. We need to win. Picking and choosing where that win comes from now is not where we're at. We need a win. Every game that we come up to, we need a win from that game. I don't really care who we're playing, where we're playing, because from the moment you lose at home to Southampton, we are owed 3 points. 3 points -3. We're on -3 points now, so we need 3 points where we wouldn't expect to get it. And I could say that maybe 10 times this season already. That -3 points for some performances or some results. So yeah, I completely agree with you. You kind of have to win that game. But again, I've already said you had to beat Southampton. Southampton was a breaking point in terms of me losing trust, especially the way it went as well. If we had absolutely battered the crap out of them from minute 0 to 90, and the strikers were just missing chances. I'm talking Fernando Torres is rounding the goalkeeper at Old Trafford and skying it. And it's just, everybody is just moving like an op. Then cool, I would have taken it. I would have just gone at the players. But it's the way it all materialized, and the changes and the Mason playing up front and everything. It was just too much for me to take. So I had to put it to rest at that moment and say, you know what, I'm mentally checking out a little bit here. I'm going to leave it to you now. You try and see if you can bring everybody back in a bit, because what you're doing is a little bit mad. But yeah, I mean, Drogbaba, I don't know about you, bro, for that Tottenham game where you're at.
I'm not very hopeful, to be honest. And see, that's the thing with this Potter regime right now. Is this is the lowest I've felt as a Chelsea fan. I've been following Chelsea since 2003, and every time our backs were against the wall, we produced some things special, barring that one season. But in that one season also, we had some positives. Like there were some young players coming in. Then we had beaten City in the FA Cup, the scoreline of 5-1. So there were some positives here and there. That we knew the team is not that bad. It's just that the whole atmosphere is not right at the moment, and we can write off this season. Right now, I want to ask you guys that if we were to lose all 3 games, which is a possibility, by the way, because Spurs, they are not dropping points, even though sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe cheap, like Gattuso said. Yeah. They beat City, then concede 4 goals against Leicester. I don't know what happens there, but Spurs, I don't think we can beat. Leeds, again, new manager, but old manager, no manager, new manager, we can't beat those teams also. And Dortmund obviously is a mammoth task. Do you see him staying if we were to lose all 3 games?
Anything, I can see anything now. I mean, after the Southampton game, that was kind of like the moment of you either twist or you stick.
See, my point is, okay, give time, give a proper run, and just stick with the manager. The thing is, if you look at a manager, 3-4 months are enough to make your judgment if he's up to the job or not, if he's out of his depth or not. I'll give you an example of Allegri. Okay, Juventus are not in particularly the best of shapes. They had a very bad start to the season, but they went on a winning streak. I think 7-8 games they won back-to-back in Serie A. They were on the second place. Then they got that 15-point deduction. The morale was at all-time low. Players are not willing to play. They are looking for ways to get out of the club. No Champions League football. Still, they have won their 3 games back-to-back. They lost 2 games, but now they are again, they have stabilized the ship. So because Allegri is if you want to call him an elite manager, I think he's a good man. He's an experienced manager who knows how to manage a top Italian club. Is Graham Potter that guy? My reservation with Graham Potter is that. Are you the man who's going to lead us to glory, or who's going to make this Chelsea a dynasty like what Pep has done with Man City, or what Klopp tried to do with Liverpool? Because what I wanted was maybe we could finish 6th or 7th was acceptable. That too, if minimum we would have been in the top 2 next season. Minimum top 2 next season. Top 2 means you're going down to the wire for the title. If you don't win it, no problem. Then the season after that, you are winning the title and you are going after the Champions League like we always did in the past seasons. But right now, it looks like it will take us 3 to 4 seasons to rebuild, given the fact that we have spent £600 million.
See,
we keep talking about Arsenal. Okay, they trusted the process, but they did not spend £600 million in 1 year, or £400 million in 1 window. So what's our excuse?
I don't like the Arsenal comparison anyway, because I just don't feel like as if I don't think our team was.
And by the way, they haven't won anything. They might win the title this time.
Well, they won the FA Cup. They won the FA Cup, isn't it? But I for the same reason you said, I wouldn't make the comparison because of the money, and I wouldn't make the comparison because of the squad quality and the ownership change and all. I wouldn't make like it's just two completely different situations in terms of everything that's happened around the club in the last 12 months. But I do feel like still, regardless of what is happening right now, I still feel the long-term future is good, just purely because of the type of players we've acquired in January and some of the starts for João Felix and Enzo, the confidence I have in him and Badiashile. And I still feel like the future is bright. I don't think my long-term worries or my long-term thinking has changed in terms of when we're going to do, like you said, challenge for things, or when are we going to, try and go back to the days of competing for Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues. It's going to take time. The only way that process will be sped up is by great acquisitions in the market, brilliant selling and trimming down the squad and actually making the right calls. And the manager making big decisions, because when people talk about the manager going, and I was going through the shortlist and we talk about Flick and we talk about Zidane, I don't even think speaks English. And he's only kind of managed elite players. So that's something to look at. Is he going to improve young players? Is he going to deal with a team that needs improvement? I don't know. Mourinho, we've gone through, all these different managers. I personally wouldn't take Mourinho back at this current moment. But Ten Hag is exactly what you want right now. In hindsight, when you've seen the way he's adapted to the Premier League and the way that he's behind the scenes, he's been very, clear with Ronaldo in that situation, the way he's dealt with the Sancho situation, the way that he's got them playing, the way that he's tactically managed to make the tweaks needed in game to change the course of the match, with Weghorst playing in the 10 and pressing Kessie, and you've got you've got Fred pressing De Jong to stop him from playing, and you've got Rashford, and you're bringing back the careers of Wan-Bissaka, and you're bringing back the careers of Luke Shaw, and you're bringing back the careers of Rashford, and I'm thinking to myself, this is why I don't like when people go too far the other way, because they're so desperate for a process. They feel like anybody who has lost or is losing faith in this current manager or this current way of the way things are going, they make it seem like those people don't have patience and those people don't want to process, or those people don't have long-term thinking. And that is completely incorrect. That is completely incorrect. Completely incorrect. And on top of that as well, when you look at, we need the perfect situation. We haven't got the preseason. Ideally, I want the preseason for him. I want the squad to be trimmed. But every single manager has to deal with situations that are not in their favor. And you have to show, I think it's very important that you show how you're going to deal with the tough times, so we can judge you on that as well. Not just judge you when everything's perfect. If everything's absolutely perfect, you don't have a single injury, the squad's at the perfect size, you've had a preseason, you're playing one game a week if you want as well, so you can change systems, because you don't want to have to juggle the flights and the European football, and everything's just perfect. We've seen Conte won a Premier League under those circumstances, right? Preseason, no European football, one game a week, Premier League win. Made the switch against Arsenal away, bang, there you go. Nice squad size, some world-class players here and there. But that is not going to happen, or it should not really be happening at Chelsea Football Club, because we should have European football. And it's very rare that we don't have drama and we don't have things that Lukaku's coming back in the summer. You want some drama? You want some headaches? You want something that's not perfect? Step forward Romelu Lukaku in the summer and the 10 other Cobham graduates or loanees that we have when preseason starts, and it's just the Avengers, the final scene where everybody just comes together, and we've already got a 35-man squad. Now it's 45, and now Lukaku's here. May as well just top it up to 50, because I'm sure there's a few Lewis Halls and Chukwuemeka's that I'm not included in this. There's 50 people coming back into Cobham at the start of preseason. That is not perfect. So then when we go to, it's going to take time to sell players. It's going to take months, right? Because they're on high wages. That means your preseason wasn't perfect. Are you going to select the right players to go on preseason tour? Same way we questioned Tuchel about some of his selections, taking Marcus Alonso and not taking someone else, etc., etc. Is that a perfect preseason for you, Potter? Is that a perfect preseason? It is not. So this is why right now, it's not just, oh, well, we can't judge him and we can't judge him at all, and we just have to just leave it And anybody who says otherwise is not understanding the perspective or the objectivity of the situation, because there's context. There will always be context. There will always be something where it's not in his favor. In preseason, I'm telling you now, it will not be a perfect preseason because we have all of these players. So there you go. Preseason's already fucked. What now?
See, this is the thing. Couple of days ago, when everyone was talking about giving whole heap of excuses, and I said, you will never get the utopia. You're looking for utopia. You're looking for when things are just perfect. You look at all our lives, and this, I always try and analyze what happens in footballing life to what happens in general life. Can any one of us ever say, I've never had any issue at one time? There's always issues, man. You're gonna have something, but you gotta find ways to navigate around it. Now, did Potter have too many issues? Maybe, but you can never get rid of all the issues. I think that's what we're trying to say. Reece James is fit now. God forbid, he could be injured again. His history shows he could be anytime injured. Then what? Again, we're going to start the excuse. Well, he hasn't had, a right back. Well, guess what? Next season, if you're still around, you're going to have Malo Gusto. Then what? When he does bring in Malo Gusto, but Malo Gusto hasn't had enough time to adapt. There's always going to be excuse lined up. Always. You got to find a way. You got to find a way. And second thing is, all those names that we mentioned, Conte coming into the first season, winning. We talked about Erik ten Hag. I think we need to respect the fact that these managers, they know how to win. They've won stuff. Like Conte, when he came to Chelsea, he's won stuff in Italy. He knows what it means to win. Erik ten Hag, people laughed at him. Oh, anyone can win at Ajax. Just give it to anyone, they'll win it. Well, the guy that got the job after Erik ten Hag, he got the sack. He got sacked. It's not that easy. Ajax, yes, the level may not be that difficult over there, but PSV, Feyenoord, these are not. There's very good competition for Ajax. So, and Ajax is not just walking in the park anymore. Erik ten Hag now clearly shows there was some ingredients of his winning formula over there, and he's now brought that in. And as you said, Matisse, finding different solutions. He doesn't have the perfect striker. Okay, well, you become a number 10. He maybe didn't have the perfect defender at times. Well, Luke Shaw, you're going to be centre back now. He saw that Dalot is not always fit. Well, I got to somehow revive Wan-Bissaka, or else my season's going to go down the drain. I'm not going to let that happen. I got to find a different solution. But at Chelsea, Reece James is injured.
Kante is not there.
Hey, cancel the season. We'll restart when he comes back. No, find the solution.
That's what fans say.
You got Chalobah.
Yeah.
Don't just start Aspilicueta and then the fan. But he's only got Aspi. Well, find Chalobah then. Well, how did Erik ten Hag think about? Do you know what? Maybe Luke Shaw could be a CB. He's got the characteristics of being a CB.
But
try something.
That's where right now I'm asking Potter to dig into your deep depths of you must win, even if you don't have to win.
He needs
because
to be
the board.
But see, Matisse, he doesn't have the history of doing that. That's the thing. He has to have the history.
Right now, he has to find that. He has to find that and find that somewhere, because at Brighton, you're always going to be looked at as a guy that you overachieved. We kind of have to listen to you, and we kind of have to be like, thank you so much for doing what you've done, because you did take a team from Chris Hughton with Glenn Murray up top to finishing 9th and then being in 4th before De Zerbi took it.
They're thankful. They're thankful.
Yeah, they have to be thankful. And Ostersons, you did take that team through the divisions, and they have to be thankful. You come to Chelsea and it's the complete opposite. Nobody is going to be thankful. You are Graham Potter, and this is Chelsea, and we are looking at you and we're thinking, no, you thank us. We gave you
thank us.
We gave you 12 million.
We gave you 12 million.
You would have earned that much in 6 seasons.
Coming fourth, you're not going to get a thank you. You're not going to get a thank you for coming fourth.
We gave you 350 million in the January transfer window. We gave you the red panties. You thank us. You are in our debt. That's how it. That is unfortunately, whether people like it or not, that is the realness of the situation. People will look at it as he is in our debt. We have had top managers and we've had a top owner. Even Todd Bowie, they'll say, "Listen, you bought the club now, but now we're looking. You have to win trophies. You have to create your own history, your own legacy." And I'm asking Graham Potter right now, and this is why I've taken a bit of my faith away, and I'm like, listen, I'm going to hold it now because I ain't going to get my heart broken every fucking Saturday. It ain't going to happen. You see, if a girl cheats on you once, you walk away. I'm walking away right now because you just cheated on me, Potter. Do you know what I'm saying with that shit? So I'm going to walk away, and I'm going to let you go and do some self-development and some shit. Go and do some meditation. I need you, though, within that self-development, that meditation, to get it right, to step it up. And the players are not blameless either. They need to fix up as well. But he has got to dig inside him and say, we must win this guy. We absolutely must win this game. Even if you know you don't have to win the game because you have the security of the job, just pretend like you have to win these games. Because you from a fan perspective, you do. From a board perspective, you may not need to. But winning breeds winning. Momentum is key. And right now we're on downward momentum. So if you don't put that pressure on everybody to win, and I'm not saying he's not doing that because I don't know what he's doing behind the scenes. I'm just saying, obviously, from what we get publicly, which I try not to really read too much into because it's quite bland and it's quite boring and it's unfortunate, but it's the situation. It's how he is. We don't know how he is really, because we only
Can I just say something in this? See, I'm not getting that far ahead also that we are going to have everything perfect next season, a perfect preseason, all of that. I just want him in the last episode also, we had discussed the same thing that we don't really look forward to what he says in the presser. But when you lose to a manager-less bottom place Southampton, at least come forward and say the players were absolutely dog shit today. This is the least I expect.
But the reports came out, Drogbaba, that the ownership liked the fact that he doesn't throw anybody under the bus, that he's willing to sacrifice himself for others, he's willing to keep calm heads, and he won't.
That's life.
Shake the car.
That's life. That's life, apparently.
So they actually reward that. They say, listen, thank you for not doing a madness in the presser and actually being calm and being. I mean, what do you guys make of that kind of report of they're happy that he doesn't kind of go off the handle, I guess. Is that why you call him a yes man? Because I want to dig into this yes man thing.
This is why I call him a yes man.
Because a few people have said this, and I'm not sure. First of all, I want to know exactly what it means for him to be a yes man, and then what is he doing that you guys feel like he's a yes man? I'm not even saying that I disagree. I don't really know, to be honest. I haven't decided. I'm not sure.
This is exactly one of the reasons why I think he's a yes man. I think recently there was another report where it was about Aubameyang. Oh yeah, it was Younes. It was Younes's tweet. Oba was actually...
Of course it was.
Yeah, but it triggered something in my mind, right? When Younes tweeted that. Oba's exclusion from the squad entirely was actually a board decision as well.
It was a collaboration with the board.
Yeah, so it makes me think, well, Graham Potter, do you have a weight in any of these things? Because it seems like the board, when a board can make a decision that a certain player cannot be in the squad, you might as well just put the starting lineup. Like, you might as well just do everything. So
just pack up your bags and go.
Just pack up your bags.
You're not needed.
Like, surely Graham Potter, somewhere you can say, hey, I don't agree. I think he can bring some goals, which is very much needed. And also the press conference, of course. But in regards to Southampton's press conference, honestly speaking, I don't know how much he could have thrown the players under the bus. There probably could have been a couple that he could have. But I think if anything, he probably needed to be more humble towards himself. The way he carried himself in that press up after the Southampton game, where he said, some of you guys may think I'm the problem. I think you're incorrect. Like, who are you to say we're incorrect? I have my views. You have your views. Why you say? Who gives you the right to say you're incorrect? Let the people decide if you're incorrect. It's these sort of things that make me feel that, do you know what? One, he's arrogant, and two, he doesn't want to start some sort of a warfare in the press conference. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't want to throw people into it. Makes me think he's definitely a yes man. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, there's the element of the entire this buzzword has just creeped up on the last few weeks, but the aura, man, we get a buzzword every week, don't we? But his whole aura just seems to be very, you can say calm, collected, and whatnot. Fair enough, but there's no urgency. There's nothing. There's no accountability. And at times where he needs to come forward and at least put himself, not to say just to solely only protect the players, because they need to be held accountable at times as well, even by him publicly, because that does help create some urgency. But there isn't any of that. And if you're going to be talking at a level like Miz has just said, where you're saying, well, people might think I'm not the right guy or I'm not doing things correctly, but, I don't think so, or things like that. Well, you need to back yourself up, mate. There's arrogance and then there's confidence and actually backing up what you say. It's two different things. If you come out and make statements and then you don't back it up, good luck, mate. You're finished. The whole point of this whole yes man vibe with the whole Aubameyang situation was definitely, again, like a confirmation on top of what people already suspected. Because on the touchline, in his pressers, in the way that you see Chelsea play, what we hear in terms of what's happening at the club, there isn't anything to show you that he is a man of authority, that he is someone that's actually commanding control. And that doesn't even need to be, throw your arms up in the air, go out into the press and throw people under the bus, be loud, be angry. That doesn't equal control. People have this misconception that being like that equals you have authority and control. No, you can be as loud and crazy as you want and you can still have zero control. Ultimately, you can be quiet and have control, but there are still things that show that you have control. Yeah, Ancelotti is a prime example. That never
what a performance yesterday.
2-0 down.
Yeah, 2-0 down, and he made a tactical tweak there on Salah.
What did he say after the game yesterday? I don't know if you saw it. Because they asked him, "What did you say?"
I was too busy celebrating the win for Real Madrid.
I don't blame you. when he was doing the presser and they asked him, "What did you say at half time to get everything to change?"
Yeah, nothing. I saw that. Yeah,
nothing. He said, "I didn't need to say anything."
That's aura. That's aura.
There we are. That's control. And for people to use Ancelotti as an example of someone that's just quiet all the time, no, I refuse. Go and look at Ancelotti 20 years ago, because he was in management at that time, winning Champions League with AC Milan.
Yeah,
he was loud.
He's one of the most underrated managers of our generation.
All he has to do is just 100%. Raise his eyebrow.
Unbelievable, man.
He's got to a level where he can just be. He doesn't need to be loud. But it's Carlo Ancelotti, but he just looks at you and you just like, shit, okay, mate, all right. Like he's at that level. He can afford to be, calm and composed and quiet if he has to be, because he has that respect. Yeah. Graham Potter does not have that, right? And you're not at that level or stage yet. So you need to impose. You need to show, bruv, an elite club like Chelsea Football Club has ego. Brighton maybe didn't have ego. Chelsea has ego. Whether you like it or not, there is going to be ego. You need to be on top of that. And if you're not, it will swallow you up. You're finished. There is nothing to show that he has that control. And I think there is an element of the large contract where he probably feels like, I'm all right. But again, if there's a termination clause, then maybe not. But yeah, it all stems from that. And that has an effect on the team and the way that we play. And players, some of them maybe feel like they can just get away with doing whatever they want to do. Or they don't. Even playing the way that they play at the moment, the results that we have, maybe some of them don't see it as a massive deal. They're like, no, we'll go again next week.
There's a lot of analysing into, which I kind of stay away from, which is people will now start uploading photos on Twitter and Felix the other day. Felix and Enzo had a straight face and they were like, "Oh, see, look what he's done to the mood." I was immediately in there to say, "No, that's ridiculous." People were looking at.
There was a picture of the smiling, isn't it?
Yeah,
before we lost to Southampton.
The week before. Yeah, there was a picture of the smiling the week before after the Dortmund game or something, and he was standing there smiling, and the players were in a huddle after probably scoring a goal in a five-a-side, and he was like, "Oh, we're cooking something." people are now getting to the point where they are.
Means nothing.
There's more than enough to analyze in terms of the performances, in terms of what we're doing on the pitch, and maybe if you want to extend to the press conference, fair enough. I would try to stay away from it because it's boring as hell. But there's more than enough to analyze than the need to take pictures from training sessions and start to say, oh, see, look at this. Ziyech was happy right after the PSG move. I saw the picture. And then Ziyech didn't have a good game. Oh, so Ziyech, he doesn't want to be here. Like, just what? This micro-analyzing has to stop. It's not necessary. I know people are stressed and they're angry, but you don't have to micro-analyze every little thing. It's just borderline psychotic at this point. Do you know, some of the stuff I'm seeing.
Do you know what, guys? I've always stated this long before Kieran Dyer's video on True Geordie. I've always stated there has to be certain players that are probably looking at Graham Potter and thinking, do you know what? I didn't even know who you were.
But that's not a problem, Miz. Because Aubameyang looked at Arteta the same way. So that for me, that doesn't even bother me, to be honest.
And that's fine. Yeah, like it all depends on how the manager handles himself. But what I'm trying to say is there are certain players within this group that probably doesn't respect him. I think that is a safe bet to make. But I also think there are players that our manager, I don't know about you guys, I'm actually starting to think Graham Potter, the way he talks in press conference sometimes, I feel like he thinks we're dumb. I think he thinks the fan base is stupid. I'm just going to say whatever bland BS and I'm going to get away with it. And I feel like he does this is because he thinks inside, I don't need to explain nothing to you. You won't even get it. Why should I explain anything to you guys? You guys are stupid. That's the kind of vibe I get. I feel like he probably doesn't even respect some of the players himself. So there's issues of respect here. Players probably don't respect him because they feel like, well, we used to be managed by Thomas Tuchel, who's won a lot of stuff, has done a lot of great elsewhere. And now we've got this guy. They might not feel comfortable. There might be certain players that may feel comfortable, but some probably don't. And the other factor is, when you are on a streak of 2 out of 15, and this is a question for all you guys, forget about just from a footballing sense. Think about in your life, whether it's your work, whether even in YouTube, you upload, X amount of videos, and it just doesn't hit certain number of views. After a while, your morale starts going down. You start really reassessing about yourself. You start doubting you. Am I doing the right thing? What's going on? There's a whole heap of trust issues that start materializing. You think these lads who have endured 2 out of 15 streak this whole time, that it's all been lovely jubbly, as Younes would say. It's all been lovely jubbly and they all believe in the process. Do you honestly think by now there is at least a handful of players that are starting to think, do you know what? I don't really believe in this gaffer. There has to be. There is,
but for me,
Matisse, honestly, in your life, if you go through that streak, would you just go, I still believe in that guy?
No, I mean, some people probably don't. But the players have to take responsibility because in some games, they're not taking their chances. Some games we're doing good build-up play. Some games we're actually playing pretty well for West Ham. You could say 30 minutes in the first half or whatever. And then some of the changes were made. And that's where the quality starts to drop off, right? We see the Masons are not in good form, etc. He was playing on the left wing the other day. Striker, I remember me and you were saying on the last emergency episode, you know what? At this point, we can't even talk about Mason because he's playing up front. I don't expect anything from him up front. That's a Potter problem. But some of the games we've played well. And it's like these players are not ruthless in front of goal. But that's the same issue we had with Thomas Tuchel. And it's the same issue we've had for years in terms of being clinical. Chance creation has been up and down. We've signed maybe some attackers now that we would expect their chance creation in the Felix and the Mudryks and the Maduekis to prove the thing. But none of them have goal track records of scoring consistently. So we're still having a goal scoring issue. The most clinical player we've signed in an attacking sense is in Cuckoo. And he's currently at Leipzig and looks like he's out of contention for Man City. Gusto's also injured. I don't know what spell we put upon these players even before they've even come in. So finishing's always been a problem. Now, Some Brighton fans say that Potter needs to create more clear-cut chances in terms of the quality of the chances need to improve. I think the quality of chances can always improve to the point until you reach a point where you're walking the ball in like Man City used to, or Liverpool create ridiculous amount of high-quality chances for Younes this season. Then there's always room to maneuver, and that can come from a different change of approach, maybe less possession based, more counter-attack. If you have more counter-attacks, you're going to create more clear-cut opportunities, as we saw against Dortmund. We saw against Real Madrid last night against Liverpool. The amount of times they started to spring on the break when they were leading, the clear-cut opportunities just keep coming because there's so much more space to operate in. If you're going to play a possession-based team and a possession-based system, then you need to be able to put together some serious patterns of play to create these clear-cut opportunities because there's less space to work with. So it all depends on the approach you want to take. Klopp creates loads of clear-cut chances, but they're not the same way Pep does it. Because Klopp plays more of a back-and-forth match. So if you can handle, the possession, you have to be able to create the chances with it. But this is what Chelsea have struggled with for ages. The narrative was that Tuchel can't coach an attack. The narrative was, this person can't do this. We need to change to a back four. We need to still having the same problems. Still can't put the ball in the back of the net efficiently. We've flipped the whole attack. We still can't put the ball in the back of the net on a consistent basis. All of those excuses, Jorginho slowing down the tempo of the game, Jorginho doesn't pass the ball quickly enough, that is no longer here. That excuse is gone. The back four is there. That excuse is gone. Tuchel's not here. That excuse is gone. People are running out of scapegoats for the attack not clicking. And now it's like, manager, why? Because you're more progressive. People say, Potter is a more progressive attacking manager than Tuchel. That was the narrative when he first came in, because I remember it well. And especially when the first few games rocked along, AC Milan wins and etc. 5-6 good performances. Oh, see guys, this is what we've been waiting for this whole time. This is what we couldn't get. I'm sick. This is why I was so sick of what happened previously. But now you have to have the same energy because we're not getting the goals. So where you know what I mean? So it's time to stand up and be counted for. And people will say, listen, he hasn't had enough time in terms of minutes accumulated between the players to establish the chemistry. It's cool. I agree with that. Even after Southampton, I agree that we haven't seen Felix and Enzo play long enough together to demand, elite level chemistry. And the same goes for the other signings. When you're trying to integrate these players, it's usually you do it over a pre-season. We're doing it in competitive matches because we did it in the January, not the summer. But you must, and that's how it ends. You must pick up points. You have to find a way to win matches, even if you do have to leave an Aubameyang, who I don't really want at the club, to be honest, too much, because I just don't think that's the type of striker I preferred, like a Jesus type striker anyway. But maybe you have to leave him on the bench. You have to maybe go down a bit more of a results orientated methodology now, less towards your own principles. I don't know. We'll see what he does, but maybe that's the trade-off he's got to make now because he needs to pick up points. So we'll see. We'll have to see. But Baba, anything else going through your mind on this topic before we wrap up, coming to a close, bro?
Not really, bro. I think least we can expect is some improvement. As you have said, I've forgotten what it feels like to celebrate a goal, to be honest.
Well, that's why I was watching Real Madrid yesterday. I was enjoying so many goals.
I don't know when we scored last time. Okay, people will say that
Felix,
ball from
Felix.
Enzo, that Felix goal. The joke is running around the social media. The Felix will get the goal of the month award because it's the only goal that we scored this month. Oh my God.
Mate, Real Madrid scored more goals in 70 minutes than we have in this
year. I
year.
put it in the group chat this morning.
That's disgusting, man. That's disgusting.
And such a useless stat XG is. Even Younes retweeted that. Real Madrid scored 5 goals with an XG of, I think, 1.6.
Yeah.
So you have to be efficient. You have to be clinical.
Club coach to win, so it's fine. As Miz said.
I mean... See all these things, expected points, expected goals, and doesn't matter, man. We have to score some goals. We have to get some wins. I don't know where those wins will come from, but yeah, let's support the team and hope for the best. That's man. I'm so scared right now. I'm broken, bro. I'm broken. I don't have any words right now, to be honest.
Well, we're gonna wrap
Spurs,
up.
I don't see how we win that game. If Spurs were to
Neither
do
do I.
Spurs,
Neither do I. But we have
if
to.
Spurs do a Spurs, which they do invariably, and against
It's not because
us,
I think it's not because I rate Spurs. It's because I rate Harry Kane.
and
Exactly.
And that's all. That's all you need. That's all you need is Harry Kane at this moment in time. To be honest.
And what happens to all the excuses once Kante is in the team?
Well, to be honest, we'll save that for next week. But I don't even think I think Kante is a great player when he's at his best. He's transformational in some regards, but I don't think the balance between Enzo and him is going to be what people think it is. But I'll leave that. I'll leave that to when. Yeah. So I'll leave that to the time comes. Evil laugh. We wrap up. Younes, let them know where to find you. It's been a pleasure as always.
It has, man. And yeah, we'll see what happens on Sunday. God forbid, because it's Tottenham. But yeah, hopefully we get a win and we see where it goes. I'll give all my thoughts in the lead up to that, as well as today's special double upload once again on Younes Talks Football. So catch me there, and then in the build up to the game on Sunday, yeah, there'll be the preview dropping on Saturday, and then we'll see what happens on D-Day, so on Sunday, and then we'll be back next week to discuss it, won't we?
Yeah. I feel like I hope there's not many more emergencies coming, but we'll see. Miz, let them know where to find you, bro. Pleasure as always.
Yeah, man. The other side of the coin, very, very close to 21,000, I think. Probably about less than 200. So tune in, subscribe, and yeah, just like Younes and the rest of the guys, talk about the latest that's coming up for Chelsea. And yeah, I don't have any expectations anymore. I think it's going to be a loss, and we just carry on.
I don't know.
There will be no change, and
maybe we get a draw. I don't know.
Maybe we'll get a draw.
It'd be the only way we pick something up is if Spurs decide to turn into actual traditional Spurs and throw it in the bin. Despite our bad performance, we still pick up 3 points. I mean, that would be the most Spurs. If Spurs throw that result away, by the way, I'm not letting that go. I will make sure we.
The only thing I can cling on to is when we start our first choice defense. Our defense has been keeping clean sheets. That's all I can. That's all I can hope for.
Yeah,
maybe a 0-0. I don't know. Baba, what about you, bro? Let them know where to find you. Pleasure as always.
Thanks, bro. I think till the season ends, we should rename this program to Chelsea Fans Therapy Session rather than All You Can Eat Chelsea, because that's all we do right now. We just talk it out.
No, we're not eating anything. We're not eating anything.
I'm actually starving, man. I'm so hungry.
I think all we are trying to do is trying to make ourselves feel better. That's it. There is nothing to discuss right now. We all know what's going to happen, to be honest. By the way, guys, you can find me on Drogbaba, and I'm broken from within. That's all. Thank you.
Or you can not eat Chelsea. I don't know. Or you can
when can we eat Chelsea?
Yeah, we are starving. Guys, smash up the likes, subscribe to everyone. Make sure you leave your comments in the description. This will be premiering. I look forward to seeing you guys in the live chat. And yeah, obviously after this comes out, Leipzig versus Manchester City and Inter Milan versus Porto, we will cover in the watch along as well. And then we move on to previews. I have expressions tomorrow at the stadium in person. I don't know why I agreed to that.
Why did you agree
to that? I will be destroyed. And then I have Toby literally right after at the stadium.
No.
In a bit, people, peace. Long day.